She's like love, 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 and music. La la la, love, 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 and music.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner, and this is my review for Tamar and Vince Season 5, Episode 5. I hope everyone had a good day. This video will not be up until Friday. It is currently like 2:45 in the morning on Thursday. So I'll have it uploaded sometime tomorrow after I'm at work. I hope everyone is having a great Friday and just gonna have a good weekend. And let's just get into this particular episode. Let me give this disclaimer. If any of you are here to see someone defend Tamar and be completely on Tamar's side and, you know, don't see anything wrong that Tamar does, go ahead and click off, okay? For you fans who can't see anything that she's done wrong, or y'all are just blindly loyal to her, and then anyone who says anything against her or brings to light something that she could have done better, get your ass off my channel immediately, because this ain't what you want. While my opinion is my opinion, I don't have time for people who's coming here for the wrong things. Like, my channel is literally my opinion of the show. So if you're looking for, you know what I'm saying, somebody who just going to not look at everything, I ain't that. So just go ahead and about your business. Let me just say that right now. I'm gonna get on both Vince and Tamar's ass in this particular thing. Look, this whole episode, the first 50 minutes was complete arguments. Arguments between Vince and Tamar. You know, the arguments at the table with his and her friends. You know, him and her. Look, I'm so sick and tired of both Tamar and Vince's ass. I don't know what to do. And it's only episode 5. I mean, because they having the exact same argument. And I won't even say the exact. Yeah, they having the exact same argument. Tamar feel like she don't want Vince to be her manager, and she want to figure out how to tell Vince that she don't want him to be her manager anymore. And that's the conversation she's having with everybody except Vince. So, you know, the episode does pick up with her telling him, I want a new manager. And, you know, he like, okay, go ahead, I don't care. And she's saying, you know, how they would be happier if he wasn't her manager. And she's trying to say the things they be arguing over. You know, how we arguing over money. We arguing over this and over that and over whatever. And he like, well, all right, let me know you're done. That pisses her off. Well, all right, I don't want to talk about... Again, for me, Tamar was being extra. I mean, damn, all the man said was let me know you done. I've said that to people plenty of times. When someone talking to me something that I kind of either don't want to hear, or I want you, like, let me know you're done talking so I can say my piece. I do that all the time. And I've had people do that to me too. And I don't get offended as if, you know what I'm saying, they being rude or dismissive. I'm like, they want their turn. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to shut up and let me know when you done. And, you know, her, oh my God. You know, I mean, again, I don't know why she got so mad over that comment. I mean, out of all the stuff y'all both said, that would piss you off the most, girl, bye. I just can't, you know, then we had Vince trying to talk and say his piece, and, you know, no, she didn't say how they've been discussing this for years, about how they've been discussing for years, how they need she needs a new manager. She said she's just now being more vocal about it. Well, that is great. That is wonderful, Tamar. You should be being more vocal about what you want in your career. Absolutely. You know, and then when Vince is trying to give, I guess, his 2 cents, Tamar is being Tamar, and she's being extra with the goddamn salt shakers. Which, of course, everybody looking at her like, why are you shaking the salt? I mean, it was a distraction. It was look, this whole episode was a motherfucking mess. And I don't know how else to say that. On both sides, on Vince's side and on Tamar's side, they both have these extra antics. And that's why they asses married. That's why they're together. Because they both extra as hell. So anyone trying to make it seem as if, oh my God, Tamar is such a victim. And when I say that, my commentary and me talking about the show has nothing to do with the allegations of Vincent beating her. Nothing at all. You want to know why? Because that ain't what they talked about on the show. So don't come to me talking about, well, he be beating her. That ain't what I'm talking about, okay? Until she come out and she say, yes, he be beating me, that ain't what I'm talking about. So peace be gone. You know, so her having the whole salt shaker thing, you know, whatever. Vince is like over it, and people like it's an awkward ass dinner. It's awkward as fuck, and it's stupid, and it's aggravating, and it's boring, but also entertaining, and a fucking train wreck. It's all of that intertwined into one. And you know, at this point, they both upset. She upset because he like, tell me when you done. Now he upset because when he was trying to talk, she got the salt shaker, and now they both pissed off. And you know, she's saying how, no, and then he said, you know, you want to say what you want to say, but you don't want to listen to when someone else wants to give their point of view. I feel like they both feel that way. You know what I'm saying? They both do that to each other. So when they both get mad, it's a fucking pointless. It's stupid. It's like arguing with a brick wall. It's like two brick walls arguing with two brick walls. Ain't shit getting through. Nothing on either end. Tamar's a brick wall. Vince's a brick wall, and they both have two different ideas of what the issue is. It's the stupidest shit ever. You know, she's saying how she's now 40 and she just wants different things now, which is great. She's like how she wants to be her own boss. She doesn't want anyone running her life. And she felt like she shouldn't be getting this much pushback about getting a new manager. And I agree. And he like, you know, well, I'm not really pushing back. You know, do what you want. You know, and she's like, well, you got an attitude. You're like, I don't have an attitude. And she said how she just wants a happy marriage. You know, how they should take the work away to fix the relationship. And I agree with that. However, they had many more problems than this. They have literally allowed their work life to ruin their marriage. And when I say they, I mean both of them. Not just Vince, not just Tamar, them both. Because for Tamar to say, we've been having this discussion for years, which means you've known for years that you weren't happy with him being your manager and you allowed him to stay your manager. Vince, on the other hand, he know if he say Tamar is hard to manage, she's difficult or whatever, you knew this and you still stayed on as a manager. So you helped perpetuate this fucked up situation. Y'all both made the situation possible because neither one of y'all pulled the trigger to fix it earlier. Y'all waited till it got to the worst it could be, and now y'all both point the finger at the other one as if you're innocent within it, and you're both guilty. You're both guilty of just allowing it to get this messy. He, you know, he was saying like, you know, at the end of the day, things will always be on my shoulders. I mean, I don't know what he meant by that. I'm assuming he was talking about, you know, because he's the manager, when things go right, wrong, or indifferent, people always looking at him like, well, he did this right for her career, but he did this wrong for her career, so it'll always come back to me. You know, he then said, you know, I am Vincent the fucking Herbert. And you know what I'm saying? I'm great at what I do. Now, some people might find offense to that. I don't, solely because Tamar is one who always said that about him. My husband is Vincent the Herbert. You would call him that. So now he calls himself that. And I do think he is a great manager. Because let's not forget, Tamar used to be just Toni Braxton's little sister. And when this Braxton Family Values show started, Tamar wasn't the star she is now. She wasn't. And anyone who can't admit that is a fucking liar. The Tamar that she is today is a completely different person for many reasons. One, she is more mature. Absolutely. Two, she is a bigger star than she was in the beginning. And she herself has admitted Vince helped her get to this point in her career. So he's a great manager. She know that. He know that. There's no disputing that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with him saying that he is talented at what he does. Why would you want him to say something like, I'm a horrible manager? He's not going to say that because he's a good manager. Him and Tamar just don't work anymore. They don't. They just don't. You know, Tamar said how it's just too much. How he's responsible for too much within her life, and it's too much. I get it. She's like, when I wake up, when I go to sleep, when I get booked for gigs, you know, everything that goes on in my life, he is in one way involved in, you know, me and my son because he's the father. You know, me as a wife, he's my husband. my business stuff because he's my man. In every aspect of my life, he is involved. And that worked before, it doesn't work for me now. Completely get it. It is what it is, Because she's like, it worked in the beginning, it doesn't work for me now. Vincent is saying now, if it's not broke, you don't, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But he says that he's speaking for himself. He's saying how, if it's broke for you, then you need to fix it. She is offended by that. It's a whole fucking mess. She says she feels as if he isn't listening to her. He isn't paying any attention to her. He's not taking her seriously. He doesn't respect her. He said how she then says, we shouldn't have had this conversation in front of people. You think? Every conversation they've had in front of people has been so uncomfortable. I mean, just not. I feel like when you're a married couple, you should not have those kind of conversations in front of other people. And if y'all beefed out, and if y'all having those kind of issues, don't have group lunches or dinners. Don't have that shit separately, okay? Because it's not fair to your friends to include them, because then your friends have to pick sides. And my thing is, Tamar's friends are going to pick Tamar's side. Vincent's friends are going to pick Vincent's side, or they're going to sit there and just not say shit and let them argue for a whole 20 minutes of the scene. Because for most of the scene, they were just sitting there looking like, because it was uncomfortable as fuck. It was just so stupid. It was very aggravating. And I'm like, y'all should not have had this conversation. You damn right, Tamar. Y'all should not have had this conversation in front of anyone. At that point, Tamar asked Finch, you have to admit, are you at your happiest in life? Are you the happiest that you can be? Now, this is why I say Tamar fucked up. Vince tried to answer in his own way. He had an answer, but when he said, well, she's like, no, it's a yes or no question. You can't ask someone a question and then want them to answer it how you want them to answer it because you feel like they should be able to say yes or no. The same way that someone won't ask you a question, you can say yes. Tamar, always have an explanation to something. Even if she says yes, it's yes with an explanation, or it's yes with something behind it. When Vince tried to give his answer and she cut him off and said, no, it's a yes or no question. For him, it's not. For you, it is. For him, it's not. And to not let him answer is crazy. The same way she felt when she was talking, saying the things they was arguing about, and he said, let me know you're done. And she felt like he cut her off and didn't let her finish her conversation. She did the exact same thing to Vince. The difference is you asked him a question and didn't let him answer the question. You wanted him to say either yes, he's happy, or no, he's not. And in marriage and life and in business, it ain't sometimes yes or no. It's like, well, yeah, I'm happy, but, or it's a thing of, I could be happy. You know what I'm saying? It's always something. It's not a yes or no thing. Because if he says no, I'm not happy, then what you gonna do? Okay, because you're not happy, now we're gonna go do A, B, and C. No, it still has to be a conversation about it, and that's the problem. That neither one of them is fully letting the other one express themselves. That's why I say they both is fucked this up. Both of them. Tamar and Vince. It's a whole mess. Okay, point blank and period. So when she cuts him off saying how it's just no question, he's pissed off. He gets up, he like, this is what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? Because she's saying, he's like, it's not about change. Because she's saying, like, it's about change and how people change, you grow, whatever. He like, it's not about change. Like, if you ask someone a question, you should give them the chance to answer it. But that's who you are. Now, my thing is, did Vince overreact by getting up to leave? I don't think he did. Solely because if he would have sat there, they would have kept arguing. It would have got hotter and hotter and hotter. And then one of them would have said even something more wrong than what they're already going through. So I feel like I'm happy his ass got up. Because him getting up, leaving the table, ended the whole argument. Because it went from a dinner to a conversation to an argument to a full out fight between a married couple with their friends sitting there watching it with camera crews going, and it's a full fucking mess. And anyone who can't see that they are both wrong in how they are handling this whole situation is crazy. Okay? Point blank and period. So, the next thing we see is now Tamar is having dinner with EJ and James, her two friends. I don't think her getting advice from those two particular friends helps, solely because they are yes men. They are. Sometimes what they say is spot on, but sometimes they just let her talk and they don't tell her instances where she may need to shut up. The same way Vince needs to have conversation with his friends who tell him sometimes he needs to shut up. However, EJ and James are very much so yes men for Tamar. And that's the crazy thing. And I always say when you're going through things and when your friends always say, you're right, you're right, you're right, they're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong, they lying to you, ma. Because no one is always right, ever. And I'm not saying that Tamar is always wrong. I'm just saying her ass ain't always right either. And the thing about a good friend is being able to like, I have a friend who, when she asks me stuff, I am very honest with her. And I tell her, and I always say, friend, I love you, right? And then they'll say, yeah. And I'll say, well, look, this is where you went wrong, in my opinion. Because we're having a conversation about whatever happened. EJ and James don't do that for Tamar. Tamar's saying whatever she wants to say, and then they kind of just like agree with her thought process on how it went, how it should go, and all that stuff. And I'm like, sometimes I don't think Tamar will be right. And it's a scene of them having the same conversation that they've already had. She wants to get a new manager. She's mad because, he hasn't helped her get a new manager yet. And, she says, to think of how she gets mad at her manager, who was her husband. And so it causes issues in her marriage. We know that. So how many scenes with EJ and James do you need to keep saying that exact same point? At this point, we as the fans know y'all don't need to be working together at all. Don't need to do it. But you also don't need to have 15 conversations saying the exact same thing. And that to me is, I'm like, I don't care. I'm a little bored at this particular point. We see that she does not want to be Velcro anymore. She does not want to be attached to Vince at the hip, and she don't want Vince attached to her hip. She has every reason to feel that way. And I'm just tired of the conversation about it. She said, usually your manager works for you and you get to go off at times. She's like, but I can't go off on my husband. And my thing is, true. But sometimes you can't go off on nobody. Sometimes you have to just, not want to be on 10 at all times. And I feel like even if Vince is no longer your manager, that don't mean getting a manager and go off on them, because it'll still cause a volatile relationship with them too. I think Tamar at times is on 10, and I would just love it if sometimes she was only on 8. Like, I don't mean kind of fuck down. I just mean like maybe not go all the way overboard. I think with Vince, sometimes he needs to shut the fuck up. Truth be told, he does. But Tamar is saying how she feels like he's not being honest with her, and that he's not being honest, and he's not completely happy. But my thing is, at this point, it shouldn't be about if Vince is happy. At this point, it should be about, Tamar, are you happy? And if you are not happy, you can't base your decision on what to do on if he's happy with things or not. Because if you're unhappy, mama, you need to leave. If you're unhappy with your manager, get a new manager. And I don't think that your current manager should be the one to find you a new manager. I don't, at all. She's saying how they used to be happy and she wants to be happy again. Girl, don't we all? She says how she wants to feel free to be, to make mistakes, make her own decisions, and learn from the errors of whatever she's doing. She basically just wants to do things on her own, which is perfectly fine. She says how Vince keeps telling her to do whatever she wants to do, but he don't mean it. And this is my thing with that. Because I won't, she said him not meaning go do what you want to do is not going to stop her from doing what she thinks needs to be done, which is getting a new manager, finding her own staff, and saying how she can do it on her own, and she's a businesswoman. And this is my thing that I have an issue with. Why are you waiting for Vince to get you a new manager? Why? Like, just do it. I'm like, oh my God. She also said she don't like people taking credit for her being a star. I agree with that. I think Tamar is a star in her own right. I think she has worked hard. I think she has a talent. Do I think others can say they helped her get there? Absolutely. Do I think if she had a different manager besides Vince, she would be the star that she is? I still think she would be a star. But I think Vince helped her. I think she helped Vince. I think they've helped each other. I also think they've outgrown each other. And it is what it is. I know she brings up how she needs to reconnect with Tiny too, because Tiny's her best friend. They haven't talked for about a year, and because, you know, they usually talked about everything, and she's going through all the stuff with Vince, she feels like she should talk to Tiny, because Tiny can help her figure out what to do. Okay, girl, fine. And then, Jesus is another dinner scene. You know, this time, you know, it's just Tamar and Vince. They arrive at a hotel or a restaurant or something, and they arrive in separate cars. Okay? You know, I feel like if you husband and wife, you live in the same household, you know, same gas come together. But we know they're not normal, and some things is going on. And, you know, Tamar said how they talked last night, and how basically Vince was saying that her getting a new manager don't matter to him. And this is how I feel about that. If you want to be your own boss, and if you want to run your own shit, and you want to be a businesswoman, when you tell your old manager, I don't want you to be my manager anymore, and they're like, you know what, fine, I don't care, you should go and find yourself a new manager. You should not depend on the old manager to do anything for you, because you're saying, I want to be in charge of my own life. A part of that is finding your own fucking new manager. And I feel like Tamar keeps harping on this thing of, I want a new manager, and Vince won't let me do it. And then she'll say, I want to be my own woman. I don't want anyone to be in charge of my own life. And she has every right to want that. But you can't want him to help you get a new manager if you want to do shit yourself. It doesn't make any sense, Tamar. And that's why I say, if you're looking for somebody who's going to say Tamar can't do no wrong, I think Tamar is crazy to keep putting it on Vince to get her a new manager. Fire your husband. Husband, you're done. Okay, I love you, husband. You're no longer my manager. I'm going to get a new manager. And then let him be just your husband. Okay? Let him do that. Don't make him responsible for getting you someone new. Do that yourself. Let that be the first step you take in being self-sufficient in your life. Because if not, we don't have this whole thing that happened. So, you know, she admits how this will be her last album. He's like, I think that's crazy. I don't think you should have this be your last album. He says how she's, you know, such a great talent. She's wonderful. And, you know, he just doesn't think that she should do that. But that's what she wants to do. You know, he said how I think she's talented, but, you know, but ultimately it's her decision. And truthfully it is, you know. Tamar says, well, it's because, you know, we argue so much. I just think we need to separate things, and I think if I take away the business part of it, me singing, it'll help. He agrees that they do argue too much. He goes for that, but he says how sometimes, you know, what did he say? Well, he says, you know, they do, because Tamar was saying, I said how we should have a liaison who can communicate things between us when things kind of get, you know, out of whack. And he says, you know, I agree with that. He says, however, you know, we usually argue too much when you don't like how things are handled, when things don't go your way or they don't go the way that you think they should go. You know, you kind of, you overreact or whatnot. And, you know, she's like, well, I don't think, you know, I make the arguments any worse. And, you know, I don't think any worse by getting upset when things don't go my way. She doesn't agree with him saying that. And I think sometimes people don't see themselves how others see themselves. Like, I'm pretty sure Vince don't see himself how Tamar sees him. The same way that Tamar don't see herself how Vince sees her, because you can't see yourself through someone else's eyes. So, you know, she says how, you know, she just wants to look at him as her husband and, you know, not have to tell him, you know, when things went wrong and then it causes some kind of argument later on within their relationship. You know, he says how it's hard for her sometimes to bounce back from being upset. And I think everyone has seen both Vince and Tamar upset, And we've seen how they both at times don't let it go easily. So I think Vince saying that she, can't bounce back from being upset, he's almost being a hypocrite because he's the same way. I think a lot of people are that way, though. I think a lot of people in life, you don't bounce back from being upset too quick. And, so yeah, that I'm like, it is what it is. I'm just over Tamar and Vince at this point. I really am. She says how, he calls things being protective when he doesn't tell her things. She said, but she sees it as, things are being hidden from her, and at times she doesn't feel like he treats her as an equal. I'm like, okay, I get that, And then it kind of goes left. She brings up how, because he like, you have control over this. We talk about everything. I don't not include you in things. I do look at you as an equal. We'll discuss the songs you want to do. How many songs on the album. And he's naming all these things. And she's like, well, no, because my last album, something was up. And he then says, it was in your contract. Your lawyer went over it with you. And she's like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Then they kind of getting into it. She then says it was some deal that she was supposed to be like a deal with Epic or something. That didn't go through. And it was a separate deal. And that she didn't get the contract until the 11th hour. And then Vince says to her, but didn't your lawyer go over the contract with you? And she says, yes, but it was at the 11th hour. This is how I feel about that. If you have your own lawyer, because it wasn't Vince's lawyer, your own lawyer. Tamar had her own lawyer look over a contract and go over a contract with you. It's because he said, your lawyer went over it with you. You did not have to sign it. I feel like when you have your own lawyer who goes over any kind of documents, contract for you to sign, it is up to your lawyer to advise you on what to do. I felt like in that conversation, she was saying as if the contract wasn't fully explained to her, and she signed it and she should not have. So when he said, you didn't have to sign it, and she was offended, like, what? My thing is, when you said, well, yes, my lawyer went over with me, then if your lawyer went over with you, you can't be mad at anyone that you signed it, because you have a lawyer for a reason. You should never sign any contract without a lawyer, point blank and period. Or at least some kind of legal counsel to see what it is. So at that point, I'm looking like, one, I don't know what they're talking about. But two, when she admitted, yeah, he went over with me, but it was at the last minute. But you still had your lawyer go over with you. And as Vince said, you did not have to sign it. But again, I feel like at this point, they just be arguing for the sake of arguing. If he said the sky is blue, she said it's red. If he's saying water's wet, she's saying water's dry. And it's a whole episode of them arguing. And, it's just stupid. He's saying how at times she doesn't listen to him. But if someone else says the exact same thing, she listens. And she then says how, well, you know what, you're hard to talk to. Again, they just talk back and forth. But no one's listening to each other. It was just fuckery and bullshit in my personal opinion. And I'm just, you know what? I'm not even going to review the mother show. Look, they argue the whole episode. Point blank and period. She says that she's been asking him for a year or two to get her new manager, and then says, why haven't you done it? And he was like, well, you just said that you wanted to be your own person, so why would I do that? You know what I'm saying? You want to be your own boss, why would I do that? And from there, she snaps a little bit, saying, why won't you do it? And he's like, who you talks like that? He got, I won't say got aggressive with her, but he got pissed at her snapping. And you can see from this little bit of interaction how they both were holding back on wanting to go off on the other one. She was holding her tongue, and so was he. I'm pretty sure they be up in their house arguing, fussing, and fighting like crazy. But as a viewer, as a Tamartian, as a viewer of Braxton Family Values, I am completely over Tamar and Vince and these arguments of them. And it's an argument of, I want a new manager and you won't let me have one. What I will say, she's saying how he's trying to avoid the question. He says how he wishes her all the luck in the world. She said how she got retired from what she loved to save her marriage because he won't let her get a whole new manager. Then, he says, don't retire. I will remove myself from the situation. And she then goes to say, that's how you control me. That's you being controlling, Then you want to answer phone calls, you want to answer emails, and then you'll force me to come back to you to get more control. You do it to gain control and make me think I can't do nothing without you. He said how that's her way of thinking. And she's like, we'll continue to let people think I'm crazy. We'll continue to make people think that you are a saint and you don't do anything wrong. And, she then says how she doesn't think a new manager will fix it. Their marriage is broken. Their relationship is broken. I am over it. I'm over it. She talked to James. James still says, well, I can't believe he said she was hard to manage. Because he did. He said that she was hard to manage. She's shocked. I don't know why. Tamar is extra. Girl, bye. I mean, come on now. Let's not act like that. James even saying, well, why wouldn't he say that she was hard to manage a long time ago? I get the same reason she just said a long time ago that she didn't want him as a manager. Again, I am so over the antics of both of them. I just want her to be happy. I want him to be happy. And if y'all happiness come with y'all being separate, please don't make us sit through no more of these goddamn dinners of y'all arguing over the same shit. Y'all are not happy. Separate. Y'all are not happy. Don't let him be your manager anymore. Don't wait for him to find you a new manager. Move the fuck on. Okay? I'm just over it. I'm over it. The last ending of the scene is Tamar meeting with her father, and her daddy basically says how he does not think she was being disrespectful and rude. He felt like she was just surprised at the answers that he gave when they were asking him why he did the things he did when they were growing up. He also says how they should have never involved the kids in their marital issues because what happens between husband and wife is between husband and wife. Her daddy also says how Vince can't be the person to be her everything. And, she says how her day is better if she get home and Vince ain't there because he ain't there to argue. And I'm just... She then, at the end, she said, I think before things get too bad, me and Vince should take a break. It's already bad. I mean, this season, these first 5 episodes have been the most tiring episodes to watch and review. Because it's like we have to pick sides, but I don't see how we can when y'all both in the wrong for different reasons. Neither one of y'all is innocent in this. If it's because Tamar said how she allowed him to control her so many years, again, y'all put yourself in this situation, period. And I think y'all both need to just walk the fuck away. And I'm over it. At this point, I'm pissed off that I'm just over it. And people are just... two rich people arguing about a manager. That's it. I'm Jaylee. This is Jaylee's Corner. Peace.